Welcome to Actual Skill Modeling. This is part 2 of the Star Trek Next Generation U.S.S. Enterprise NCC 1701C. In this part, I'm starting to put on the paint, drill out the windows, and making a start on the clear parts as well, right at the end of the video. In part 1, I was dealing with the Aztec decals and showing you how I produce them. So I'll get back to that near the end of the actual build. So for now, let's jump into this one. But before I can do anything to the kit, I have to prime the model and light block it. Now I used a rattle primer for this, and I started off with red. I thought that may be enough to block out the light, but it wasn't quite. And the reason why I started off with the red was quite simple. I had run out of black. And since I couldn't pop down to the shop because of lockdown, I had to wait until I got some through the post. So I then ordered some black and primed it black. And as I said, this is all rattle clans. But once it was black, now I had to put a reflective surface on it. So then I got an overall coat of white primer as well from the front and back. Those three layers were enough to light block. I generally use acrylic paint and just hand brush it in, but I ran out of my big tubes of acrylic paint as well. Hence why I thought I'll just use the rattle can. I used to use the rattle cans all the time, but with the acrylic can paint, I generally get away with just one coat of paint, because I knew that the rattle cans, although they put on the paint very evenly, they have very thin layers of paint. Hence why I did 3 coats. So first of all, I've got to drill out the windows. Now I'm using my little pin drive here. I did use my Dremel to start with, but it was melting the plastic even on a low speed. So I've decided to go for the pinwheel drive. Now this will take a long time because I'm doing it by hand. Start off with a small drill bit first, and don't put too much pressure on it or you'll end up snapping the drill bit. And if you use a smaller drill bit like I'm doing here, you'll probably have to do 2 holes per window. Also, what I tend to do as well, I use this pencil and I just mark off the ones I will not be drilling, because it's just easier if you're going ahead and you're in the zone. You come to a pencil mark and you think, okay, I'm not drilling that one. As you can see there, I've got my knife, my hobby knife, and what I'm doing is after I drill 2 holes, I just put in the blade and extend the hole down to the second hole so it opens up the window completely. You don't have to do this, it's entirely up to you. I prefer to open up the window fully. As you can see there, I've already done a few, but this takes a long time to do. So what I'm doing here now is I'm cutting off the contact points here, and the reason for that is where the location lights are going to be. But on this kit, that's also the location points for the recess holes if I put it together. So unfortunately these have to come off. And once they're off, it's a simple case of drilling my hole. Now I use the marks from the actual pin as a guide to drill in the hole. And once it's through, and you flip it around, then you have to take these little nodes off as well. But your hole's already been made, so it's just a matter of just snipping these off. You can file them down if you wish, or just take the excess off with your hobby knife, how I'm doing it, because there's a chance that you may have to fill along the way once you start putting this together. So you don't really have to put in too much work at this point, getting it all smooth. So once you've drilled your holes, it's time to check to see if you like everything's in place. So I'm just using my LED lamp here, and I'm just putting it against it to see what it's going to look like, and you get an idea there. I've actually drilled quite a lot of holes. You don't have to drill all these. Um, it doesn't really matter how much you do. It depends how you want it to look. So once that's all done, it's a case of doing the side holes as well. These are rather tricky to do. Um, just find the best position for yourself to do this. Ideally, your Dremel or whatever other device you have for drilling holes, it would be ideal for it. But as I said, on mines, even on low speed, it was melting the plastic. So I had to persevere with my pen drive. As you can see, the windows are clearly marked on the mold as well, so it's not a case of guessing where the windows are going to be. Some models, there's no location for the windows. If you do come across that, all you do really is lay on the window decals that come with the kit, and then you'll know where the windows are before you're drilling them out. Yeah, you'll ruin the decals, but you won't be using them anyway because you'll be making your own. Now, you notice that I've got 3 different pin drives here, and each one has got a different bit in them. This is just so I'm not changing drill bits all the time. As I'm going along, some of the windows are actually larger than the others, hence why the different sizes. But if in doubt, stay with the smallest bit that you can. The bridge windows are quite tricky to do. This is a very small drill bit, again, and there is little holes that you can guide your drill bit in, but the plastic here seems to be thicker, and it takes a little bit longer to drill through. But again, don't put too much pressure on it, or you will break your drill bit. And it's the same with the side windows, opening up the 2 drill holes. As you can see, I'm putting my hobby knife in. And you have to press down quite firmly. Careful though, again, too much pressure will snap the blade, so you may want to wear eye protection while doing this. So now that the 2 saucer sections are done, as you can see there, it's going to be rough on the inside. Now you can either file them away if you wish, but I don't see the point. I'm just going to leave them there, and you can see where the lights are going to go now that the holes are in place. Always check your fit as well, because I've taken off those location points. Just make sure it's still going to fit okay. And it's the same process with the hull. The thing to note on the hill, there's a little section on the hill there. There's a round doorway. I can't remember what it's called, but it needs a very small drill bit once more, because there's 4 little points that you have to take care of at the edge of this round circular piece. So the only difference is a smaller drill bit when doing this. Again, you don't have to do it. It's your choice whether you wish to or not. On to painting now. I've had to mix some colours here to get the shade I like. So the first colour is Humbrol RC404 Greater Blue 40%, and that's mixed with Chrome Silver 191 60% for the first colour. That's for the darker blue. And for the lighter blue, it's Humbrol 240 RLM 78, and that's mixed with 191 30%. So you can see the 2 values there. I did originally have it a little bit darker, but I painted over it. I didn't bother showing you that bit, but it was actually a little bit darker. I didn't like it, so I remixed the colours. If you don't want to mix your colours, there's probably shades out there that you can use. Again, it's really up to you what colour you decide to do it. Originally, I was just going to do this all a steel colour, but then I thought, no, I'll put the blue in. And for the detailing on these panels, it's Rebel Aqua Color 05 White. Now you want to put on thin colour coats here as well. Anytime you paint it, always put on thin coats. Don't be tempted to layer it on thick, and so you only have to do it once. It will just look patchy if you do that. When painting the main pattern on the saucer section, you may notice here that I'm using a fine detail brush. That's just for the edges. Where I'm painting in that section, the white part was painted in rubber colour off-white white, like the detailing. Now, I haven't used masking tape here because the pattern on the saucer section itself is really nicely defined, and if you use your brush, if you are indeed brushing it with a normal brush, the ridge actually acts as a guide, and there's no need to use masking tape. You still have to be careful, of course, but you know, once you get used to it with the motion of the ridge, you shouldn't have too much problem. So I'm just laying down the first coats now, as you can see. This will be put aside now to let it dry for 1 or 2 hours. So onto the clear parts now, and for the buzzards I'm using Tamiya's X27 Clear Red. The clear range on Tamiya are excellent. I find this one of the best out there. The ideal way to paint these, if you're using a brush, again, is thin coats. You'll just be building up the colour, and eventually all the brush strokes will disappear. So don't worry if it looks a bit messy to start with, that will all sort itself out. So just thin coats along on the inside of the unit as well. It just seems to go on better on the inside. I don't know why that is, but it just seems to be a little bit better. So next is Tamiya's X23 Clear Blue, and this will be for the nacelles, the side panels of the nacelles. So just like the buzzards, it's just thin coats all along on the inside part of the area. Try and do sheer strokes. Have a look after you've painted each one, because there's 4 of these to paint, that you haven't got any splotches of blue on there, because it will be quite difficult to build that up so that everything looks the same. So do it thin as possible to start with. Next is the deflector dish. Now there's some lines that run up the deflector dish, and these have to be painted a different colour. So I'm using Rebel Aquacolor 05 White. I'm just using a thin brush here, and in one sweeping motion, just pulling my brush up the line. Now, also you want to paint this from the outside, so the part of the dish that conforms inwards is the outside. So that's the part that you want, area that you want to be painting. Don't do it on the inside. But when you're pulling your brush up, try and have an even pressure as well. If you have the pressure going more or harder as you're using your brush stroke, you'll end up with little blobs of paint as you pull your brush up. So try and get an even pressure as you pull up, and that's the key to that. If you have got a little bit of excess, which I did, just use a cocktail stick and gently rub away any excess paint here. The cocktail stick should be a fine point, as you see here, so I mean you may have to cut it down finally if yours hasn't got a fine point. So I'm just zooming in here to show you. So as you can see, they're fairly even. There's just a little bit of run over on the edge, as well as where I started the actual paint drag. There was a little bit more pressure applied than it should have been. So I'm just taking the cocktail stick, running it down and taking off that leading edge so it's all straight. You can of course use masking tape for this as well if you wish, but I find it just as easy to do it freehand. So once that's all done, it's time to paint the inside of the deflector dish, and that is getting painted in the Tamiya's X23 Clear Blue, like the water nacelles. And again, I'm starting from the centre this time, and just pulling the brush down and doing a general coverage of the dome, and again, even thin covers is what you're looking for. Well, this will bring this part to a close. In the next part, I'll carry on with more painting, the sausage section, and possibly the hull. Subscribe to the channel for the updates on this build, or indeed any of my builds in the future. Have a look at my channel as well. There may be something there that will interest you. Feel free to leave a comment, and of course hit that like button. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.